Next. Okay, here we go. This session is intended to be informational and educational and does not hold any responsibility for decisions made based on information shared during this presentation. You should always consider advice and assistance from qualified contractors. Presenters are not responsible for the consequences of any decisions or actions taken in reliance upon or as a result of the information provided during this event. Next. Can you stay safe by reducing your risk of serious accidents? Can you save money by lowering utility bills, extending the life of your appliances, and preventing costly damage to your home? And the most important, can you stay healthy to reduce your risk of illness, disease, and injury? Next.
Do you like ER visits, that is emergency room visits? Well, many older adults have a bucket list with a few places they would like to visit. But I bet no one has the emergency room or ER listed as one of the top 10 places they would like to go. Did you know that 1 in 4 older adults visits the emergency room yearly? That's about 2 million of us. The most common causes for these ER visits are home injuries resulting from falls. And falls can cause hip fractures, broken bones, head trauma, and other injuries. But here is the good news. Most falls can be prevented. First, let's explore actions that you can take to stave off an emergency room visit. Consider this. Our attitude towards change greatly impacts the action we take. And right now, we are all involved in major changes in lifestyle because of COVID-19. And most of us have followed the CDC guidelines by wearing a mask, washing our hands to the birthday song, and staying a social distance of 6 feet from others. While a few people have assumed a false sense of security by ignoring these directives. You might be asking, well, how can I prevent a trip to the ER? Well, again, developing a proactive attitude. That is a positive attitude towards change. If the change will, one, enhance your quality of life, and secondly, decrease your chances of visiting the emergency room. You can enlist help in assessing and modifying the safety of your home. Now, you need to be honest about your abilities, challenges, and limitations. And think about your furry family members. No, I'm not talking about your significant other. I'm talking about your pets. Do they pose a challenge to your safety? Another thing you might consider is engaging in routine muscle strengthening and flexibility exercises to stay physically, mentally, and socially fit.
Hey, you know, Anne, exercise and staying fit can avoid little accidents as well as big ones. You know, and falls can happen to anyone. It can happen to you. 1 in 3 adults over the age of 65 falls each year. And in 20% of those cases, you have a serious injury like a broken bone or a concussion. And so it's really important to be aware of your surroundings and just take it slow. So just making sure that you're aware of, yes, as you suggested, knowing where your pets are, knowing what obstacles are around you, and just exercising helps to develop not only your physical strength, but your mental alertness. So that exercise is indeed really important. And also, don't forget to have those annual checkups on your hearing and your vision, because having your senses at their best is important to that awareness and being able to prevent those slips and falls.
Getting enough sleep is important too.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my Aunt Ella. Now, my Aunt Ella is 92 and lives in the senior apartments in the Bronx. And she had this thing where she would never change her clock because she said her clocks were right most of the year. But one Sunday, Aunt Ella was in a rush to get to church. She wanted to show off her new hat. When she arrived at church, the pastor was giving the benediction before dismissing the congregation. Aunt Ella was so embarrassed. She had confused the time, and nobody even noticed her new hat after service. I believe some of us have had similar experiences. And what can we do to reset? Well, we can develop a routine for setting a special time for eating, for taking our medications, exercising, and sleep. And yes, we need between 7 to 9 hours nightly. Another thing is to expose yourself to as much sunlight or bright light throughout the day as you can. And be aware that depression, also an effective change, zaps our energy to be alert. Now, you don't want to be known as a grumpy old person. We can move from dark thoughts by brightening the home with light and absorb as much natural light as we can get. See a doctor or even a sleep specialist for your concerns. The need for sleep does not decline with age. Let's have a proactive attitude in making adjustments that call for these changes.
And another thing that happens about the same time we do a time change, and that is checking our smoke detector. And just a reminder, if you haven't checked your smoke detectors, let's try to get that done. Something that we want to discourage you from doing is pulling out a ladder or a step stool, climbing the ladder, step stool, and reaching up and cycling your smoke detector. If you look at the young lady in the picture here, she's using a pencil and reaching up and pushing that button to see if it's operational. A
Mhm.
couple other things that you can use. You may want to use a yardstick, a broom handle, or possibly a cane. But please remember, no step stools and no ladders. Another way of checking these would be to reach out to your volunteer or regular fire department in your neighborhood. Many of those departments are more than happy to come in, check your fire or your smoke detector, and if need change batteries, they will be happy to do that for you. Other things to check at this time is a carbon monoxide detector. Um, if you have any gas appliances or if you have a gas fireplace, extremely important to have carbon monoxide detectors. Um, I have my gas furnace in my basement, so I have one located there. If you look outside today and you saw the ice, and you may have decided that you wanted to warm your car up in the garage this morning, another great place to put a carbon monoxide detector is in your garage, or at least be prepared to have your garage door open to let the air clear out. Another thing is fire extinguishers. Do you have a fire extinguisher close by? easily accessible, normally located close to your range. Also, when you're checking your fire extinguisher, make sure it has not expired. There's nothing worse than having one, if have need, and find out it is not operational. Next. When we put this presentation together, started a month or two back, I never thought we would have a perfect day to talk about, is your car ready for the season? And today is a perfect day for it. If you look out, some of you may be experiencing cold rain. Others, as I have here in Greensboro, freezing rain and sleet. And as you go toward the mountains, possibly snow with a mix. So some things to look at. Is the tire pressure on your tires correct? Yes, Ann. Or excuse me, Sarah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was thinking, we got the snow, we got the icy rain. It's really bad.
It is definitely still coming down here.
Yeah.
But one thing for your tires, make sure the pressure is up. You want to make sure you have as much tread to the pavement as possible. And as the temperature cools, the air pressure in your tires decreases. Make sure the tread is proper. It may be time to replace your tires. Also, how about your windshield? Do you have good wiper blades? Do you have washer solution in your washer system? Here again, it's that time of the season that this is very important. Ice scraper. One of my major challenges this time of the year is seeing people driving and their car windshield is frosted over, and maybe they've got a place about a foot square or maybe 6 inches square that they're looking through to drive. Extremely foolish. Either warm your car up, remove the ice, use an ice scraper. Another thing that we all need to remember is weather bad, we may have an accident. Our car may break down and we could be stranded for a period of time. So please prepare a go bag to put in your car, maybe a jacket, hooded sweatshirt, a blanket, some energy bars, bottle of water. If you have water, make sure you put a baggie of some sort in case it would freeze. Also, for your cell phone, have a backup battery for your cell phone that you can plug in if you have need and you're there for an extended period of time. Next, please.
Yeah.
Looks like we're having some difficulties. Well, as we're waiting for that slide to come up, what I wanted to talk about next is preparing your home and what's happening. And here's our slide. And here again, timing is perfect. It's going to be in the 20s here tonight, and wind chill lower than that. Do you have your hoses, your outside hoses disconnected? Do you have shutoff valves so supplying water outside shut off? Do you have the need for heat tapes, insulation? I've got a personal experience that I had a supply line freeze. Water stopped. Okay, well, I can, handle that. It'll thaw out in a couple days. Never thinking that once it thawed out, it had split the line, and I ended up with wet basement. So be careful as to what's going on. If you have a frozen line, observe it. Here again, you may want to add heat tapes. various things, insulation. You may want to open your cabinet doors. You may want to let your faucets run at a slow trickle just to keep from freezing things up. Next, please.
You know, Bob, some of these activities might be a little bit beyond the capabilities of some of those who are listening. But it's also an opportunity in terms of, for those who can, to help out others. So particularly in these days of social isolation, having a helping hand can make a huge difference. And now that the days have gotten colder and icier, we're all feeling the impacts of cabin fever. We're shut in. But if there's a way to be able to work together, whether it's yard maintenance or inside the home, it can sure make a difference in helping others feel better. But of course, we have to be careful about that and be wise about how we do assist others. And that includes calling ahead, saying hello to friends and family, and making sure, just learning how you can help out. But if there's something to be done that's in the house, such as maybe it's even helping to change a light bulb, make sure you're safe, that you're working and helping out within your own physical capabilities, and that you're maintaining social distance and wearing a mask. So, it's keep on the opposite sides of the room and just get in and help out and get out to keep your visits brief. And so stopping briefly to say hello and letting your friends know that you care about them and that they're special people really will help out a lot, but keep those longer conversations over the phone and indeed be safe.
Helping out around the house reminds me of the upcoming holidays. There'll be cooking and some decorating. And for meal preparation, we'd have to think about gathering the items that we need, the cooking appliances, and storing the food properly to avoid foodborne illnesses. We also would need to wipe down the counters with disinfectant and avoid wearing loose clothing. We like to be comfortable at home, but those sagging sleeves and those play suits that we have to be comfortable in can get in the way of our safety. When we turn our attention to the holiday decorations, we want to avoid holiday hazards. So use flame retardant lights. Check the cords for fraying and cracked places. And if you find that the wiring is cracked, do throw it away, discard it. Be sure to keep your tree from drying out by watering it frequently. Keep heaters and open flames at least 3 feet away from the curtains, the bedding, and furniture. Now, we're showing these beautiful lit candles, but you might want to switch to battery operated candles for an equally warm glow. We want to enjoy this season safely.
A couple of things think about as you walk around your house, inside, outside. If we put together a couple home maintenance checklists for you for a quick look, make sure your gutters and downspouts are cleaned. Reach out to someone to do that for you. It's tough if you have leaves in your gutters, you get snow and ice, and water starts to back up and could cause house problems. Here again, check your smoke and monoxide detectors, make sure they're functional. Prep your heating systems, cooler weather. There's nothing worse than waking up in the morning on a cold winter day and find out your furnace has decided to go on vacation. So reach out to your heating and cooling people and ask them to come in and do a check on your system. Have your fireplace and chimneys inspected. You get a lot of, if you're a wood burner, you get a lot of creosote buildup, which could lead to a fire. If you have a gas fire logs, you may have a carbon monoxide issue, but you may want to check those also. Next slide, please. Well, as I'm waiting for the next slide to come up, trim your trees close to your buildings. Today's a good indication. We've got a little ice buildup on our trees here. Nothing serious, but if an ice storm comes in, you want to be prepared and to not have trees and branches drop onto your home. Inspect your roof for damage. With snow and ice on your roof, as the snow and ice starts to melt, it's a strange phenomenon, but water does flow uphill on a roof with snow and ice on it. Prep your plumbing for winter. You do not want to experience any frozen pipes or split pipes. And also make sure that you've transitioned from your summer screens and screened windows and doors to storm windows and storm doors. Next slide, please. A few helpful websites. Here to Stay program that can be located at the AARP Foundation.org/here to stay. It's a very useful tool, and looking at the different things that to do to prepare yourself for different happenings in your home, whether it's weather, whether it's emergencies, whatever. The second one is the HomeFit guidebook that can be located on AARP.org. It gives you ideas and suggestions on how to transition your home into a home. Very helpful, very useful, and easy guidebook to work with. Also, going back to the AARP Foundation and Here to Stay, there are lists of possible service providers in your area that you may want to reach out to for assistance. Next, please. While we're waiting for the next to come up, if you happen to have any questions, please put them in the chat box and we will try to answer those for you. Again, I would like to thank Sarah, who is an AARP volunteer from Brevard, for assisting, and Miss Ann, also a volunteer from Winston-Salem. Most of all, I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to wish you a very safe, wonderful, and healthful holidays.